Hi everyone, we're Group 9 and today we're going to talk about the e-commerce business strategy. So shall we start? Today we'll cover three main parts. The first one, we're going to review the business model concept, followed by the e-commerce business model. And last of all, we'll talk about the business strategy in e-commerce. So let's jump into the first part. You might wonder, what is the definition of the business model? It is a set of planned activities, sometimes often referred to as business processes, and is designed to result in a profit in a marketplace. So how about the e-commerce? So the e-commerce business model is also the same. However, its main use is to leverage the unique qualities of the internet, the website, and the mobile platform. So can I ask you a simple question? What do you often think about when you think about the aspects of a business model?
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. Please continue.
So I think we should consider the product of the company, the cost, and the production process when we talk about business model. Is that true?
Yeah, it's right, but it's not totally enough. So if you are a manager and you want to develop a successful business model in any area, not just e-commerce, you must make sure that the model effectively addresses the 8 elements listed here: the value proposition, revenue model, market opportunity, competitive environment, competitive advantage, market strategy, organizational development, and lastly, the management team. And each of them will address a particular question. So you should be aware that even though most people identify a company's business model with their value proposition, which is a very common term, the other elements are equally just as important when evaluating the business as well. So in the following sections, we will describe each of the business model elements more fully. First of all, the value proposition. It is at the very heart of every business model. A value proposition defines how a company's product or service fulfill the needs of the customer. To develop and analyze the firm's value proposition, you need to understand clearly why the customers choose your business instead of another company, and what the firm provides that others do not and cannot. From the customer point of view, successful e-commerce value propositions include 4 of the following: personalization and customization of products, reduction of cost and reduction of price discovery cost, and lastly, facilitation of transaction managing product delivery. And secondly, the revenue model or financial model. A firm's revenue model describes how the firm will earn revenue, generates the profit, and produce the superior return on invested capital. Although there are many different e-commerce revenue models that have been developed until now, most companies rely on only one or some combination of the following major revenue models, like advertising, subscription, transaction fee, sales, and affiliate. Thirdly, the market opportunity. So this term refers to the company's intended market space. For example, it's like an area or actual potential commercial value, and the overall potential financial opportunities available to the firm in that market space only. The market opportunity is usually divided into smaller markets, and the realistic market opportunity is defined by the revenue potential in each of the market where you hope to compete. So next, the competitive environment. Besides other companies selling similar products, it also refers to the presence of the substitute products and potential new entrants to the marketplace. So for example, we have the e-commerce industry, in which we have like the main key players in this market, namely Shopee, Lazada, or Tiki, each of them competing for like a market space in this game. So the existence of the large number of competitors in any one segment may be a sign that the market is saturated, and that may be difficult to become profitable. On the other hand, a lack of competitors should signal either like an untapped market for the picking or a market that has already been tried without success because there is no money to be made. So carrying out a detailed analysis of the competitive environment can help you decide which is which. Moving on to the competitive advantage, firms achieve their competitive edge because they have somehow been able to obtain different access to the factor of production that are denied to other competitors, at least in the short term. So for instance, Amazon's move into the online grocery store by leverage the company's huge customer base and years of e-commerce experience. So many entrepreneur ventures are started by one visionary individual. It is rare that one person alone cannot grow an idea into a billion-dollar company. So that is why organizational development is taken into account. In most cases, fast-growing company, especially in the e-commerce sector, needs the employees that and a set of business procedures that benefit the company in the long run. So all firms, including like e-commerce ones in particular, all need an organization to efficiently implement their business plans and strategy. And many e-commerce business and many traditional firms that attempt an e-commerce strategy have failed because they lack the organizational structures and the supportive cultural value that are required to support a new forms of doing e-commerce. And next, about the market strategy. So no matter how tremendous a firm's qualities, its market strategy and execution are often just as important as the size. And the best business concept or idea will fail if it's not properly marketed into the potential customer. And everything you do to promote your company's product and services to potential customer is known as the marketing, which is a very common term. So the market strategy is the plan that you put together that details exactly how you intend to enter a new market and attract your customer. So I have an example here. The social media platforms like Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest have a social network marketing strategy that encourages their user to post their content for free. And in this case, the users also become the part of the marketing staff. What a brilliant move, I think. And last but not least, the management team. So it is arguable that the single most important element of the business is the management team, who are responsible for making the model work. A strong management team can give a model an instant credibility to the outside investor, immediate market-specific knowledge, and lastly, an experience in implementing the business plan. So a strong management team may not be able to salvage all weak business model, but they should be able to change the model and redefine the business if it becomes necessary. So in the next part, we will talk about some common business model. And in this case, we'll cover B2C and B2B model in specific. So let's look at some definitions and comparison here. We can see from the chart that the B2C model refers to the online businesses that seek to reach the individual consumer. And so far, it is the most well-known and familiar type of e-commerce. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the B2B model is the business where it sells to other businesses as well. And it is 10 times the size of the B2C model. However, most of the time, the public attention has focused on B2C only. And we can see here some major B2C business model, including e-tailer, community provider, market creator, and many more. Each will comes with each variations, description, and also revenue model. And we'll continue with the B2B model.
So for the B2B models, Public are usually not very used to know about the B2B business model. However, it is the biggest sector in e-commerce, which we can divide it into two smaller branches, the marketplace and the internal market, the private industrial network. So for the marketplace, as it is named, companies play the role of being the middleman for transactions and exchange between stakeholders, such as suppliers and manufacturers, or retailers and buyers. Here, all stakeholders are business. The second one is private industrial network, which is a company-owned network that used to coordinate the supply chains and the activities of the firm with their limited set of partners. And the most famous example is Walmart or P&G, where they connect the supply chains of the warehousing, logistic to the sales of goods, and also the partners for the business. So that's all about the business model, B2C and B2B, just like traditional. And now we should shift our focus to the e-commerce business strategy, where we analyze how e-commerce has impact on the industries and the companies and how they react to e-commerce. So we will break down into three parts. For industry structure change, business strategy change, and operations. So with the emergence of e-commerce, it has created many change into the business environment. So first we'll look at the industry dynamic so we can see the big picture as a whole. So industry structure refers to the general business environment in an industry, that the overall profitability of doing business in that environment. And here we use Porter's 5 forces to characterize the market structure with 5 main factors: threat of substitute, barriers to entry, bargaining powers of buyers and suppliers, and the main components that we need to take into consideration is the rivalry among competitors. And it is change whenever one of the other 4 factors have some change. So with e-commerce, there are many things, many trends, new trends happening in these players. For example, threat of substitutes, there are many other new substitutes arrive in a certain industry. For example, DVD selling and rental. So with the appearance of online streaming platforms such as Netflix or Apple Play, the DVD selling industry is nearly erased across countries. Similar things happen with bargaining powers of buyers and suppliers, where the scale of power is changed with the technology enhanced, such as the internet, mobile platform, and smartphones. Buyers can access to the global sale of goods and choose which goods they are most prefers and have the most value to them. So this creates a change in rivalry among competitors, where companies can take the advantage for their business and became the first movers in the e-commerce and create the trends for every other companies to follow. So that's why individual business should perform industry analysis and carefully measuring the effects of using e-commerce to their daily operation and give the right strategy. So another part of industry structures that we need to take into considerations is the value chain. This is the core of every business model and every industry. So as we can see, value chain analysis is to identify how e-commerce may change business operations at the industry level. So with main players are supplier, manufacturer, distributor, retailer, and consumers. And with the interaction that create a network of buying and selling activities, e-commerce offers each key players in its supply chain with new opportunities. For example, manufacturers now can produce the goods and develop a direct relationship with their customers, so they can bypass the retailers and distributors, so they can sell directly to their customers and collect the profit. Or to the retailers, now they have better communications and better connection with their customers, so that they can do better customer services and marketing strategy that are customized to customers based on the data and information they've already collected from the e-commerce platform. Or maybe to consumers. Now consumers can easily access to global sales of goods and to choose whether which good they are most prefers and to purchase the goods. So the e-commerce has significantly changed the dynamic of the value chain and requires firm to take actions to adopt and to follow the new trend if they don't want to their operation to fail. So within the firms, e-commerce can create important change to the operations. So we can look at the value chain of firm in two ways. The primary activities, which are the activities the firm engage to create the final product from raw input, and the secondary activities, which are the other firms' operation that assist and support the main primary activities. So firm can use e-commerce to create a network between the primary activities and have better coordination between the production process and improve the productivity and reduce the cost, thus improve the profitability and revenue stream of the company, as well as they can connect between the separate secondary function, such as finance, human resources, administrations, to develop a better workflows and create useful assistance to the primary activities. So we can move on to the how firms can react to the change in the value chain in terms of both industry point of view and the business point of view. So not only firms need to improve their internal value chain, they also need to cooperate with other companies in other industries and create a network business ecosystem, which is called value web, where companies and key players can coordinate in the value chain, so then they can create a better impact in every aspect of the industries, from the suppliers to the manufacturers and the customers. So all they can be more efficient and improve the quality. Last, we should look at the how firms can use e-commerce to leverage their current and existing business strategy. So, for example, if a firm choose to operate and compete between the differentiation of goods, they can use e-commerce to offer unique ways to differentiate their products and services compared to other competitors, such as the ability to personalize the shopping experience or customize the product tailoring to particular demands of consumers, or firms can choose to compete in cost with other competitors by adopting online selling and utilizing the online marketing so that they can cut down the costs for sales force and marketing materials, physical marketing materials. In addition, a firm can utilize e-commerce to strengthen their strategy in the scope and the focus of the operations. So for example, a firm can either using e-commerce to have a global reach or tailor its product to serve a specific target customer group. And the most key, the most significant role of e-commerce in business activity is that it promotes and encourages firms to take change in their daily operations, which are based on technologies. So when firms can do this, it is called disruptive technology development, where firms develop a new operations based on modern technologies that haven't been used by other firms before. Therefore, we can see how e-commerce play a key role in development of the firms, as well as the change of business and industry dynamic. So in wrapping things up, we have been through 3 parts of the presentations, from the business concepts revision to common business models, and then final part is about the business strategy in e-commerce. So we hope that you can have a basic understandings about how e-commerce, basic understandings in e-commerce activities, as well as how firms react to the industry and the market, and which strategy should firm take to utilize and leverage their positions in the market. Thank you for listening. That's the end of our Group 9 presentation.